What's up, gamers? How's it going? I'm your host, Alph, and 3D Mario has always been one of, if not my favorite Nintendo franchise ever. I love Mario 64 and Sunshine, and Odyssey also blew me away when it came out. I wasn't a huge fan of certain other 3D Mario games, but those sandboxy, mess-around adventures never failed to solidify a special place in my heart. And with Odyssey especially, it was exciting to see the Mario formula get blown wide open and experience so many great changes. Even still, I recently played Bowser's Fury for the first time, and it really got me thinking. Mostly, it made me wonder just how far Mario's modernizations could go. This was certainly an interesting little expansion, but could the next full 3D Mario game possibly change as much stuff as Odyssey again, if not more? Most of all, will Odyssey's successor be a full-fledged, bona fide, no-nonsense, open-world Mario game? Let's talk about it. For starters, let's look a little bit at Bowser's Fury to see what it did. Tucked away as a side mode in the Switch's port of Super Mario 3D World, Bowser's Fury is basically a mini open-world Mario game. It's definitely not the size of a full game nowadays, but it's structured just like a 3D Mario, only without any loading screens between its areas. I personally don't think the 3D World controls and style were the right fit for this mode, but it's still a ton of fun and a very fresh idea. So with Bowser's Fury, is this Nintendo doing a test run of their next big project? Did they do this as an experiment, and since it worked, the next 3D Mario game is gonna be open world as well? I don't think it's quite that simple. For one thing, a commenter on my Where is Odyssey 2 video pointed out that Bowser's Fury apparently wasn't made by the same studio who made Odyssey. I didn't know that was a thing people could know, but big surprise, I didn't know something. Whatever the case, this information leads me to believe that Bowser's Fury was probably not a direct test run for some larger upcoming project. Now that we have nothing concrete to go off of, let's make up some factors to predict Mario's future. Let me start off this section of the video by saying yes, I am formally expecting the next 3D Mario game to be an open-world platforming adventure. I think it's the most logical, beneficial next step for the series. Even still, such a change would obviously have some big effects on 3D Mario, so allow me to explain my thought process. To source this prediction that the next 3D Mario game would be open world, all I did was look back to Super Mario Odyssey. Everybody knows that Odyssey changed everything and it's so innovative or whatever, but I think the biggest long-term impact of that game will come down to two things: lives and the boot-out system. Specifically, those are two Mario mechanics that were removed for the first time ever with Super Mario Odyssey. Lives are an easy one to explain. Mario only got a finite number of tries to win in the first place because of arcade games. Arcade machines wanted as many of your quarters as they could get, so they made you start everything over when you died too many times. As it was made during that same era, Super Mario Bros. On the NES also gave the player a limited number of lives. All your progress went away when you ran out, which I've always thought was a little silly. It's not like Nintendo cares if I beat the game in one try, but maybe game overs still made sense here as an added layer of difficulty. That's fine, but then the 1-up system carried over into 3D Mario with Super Mario 64. I don't really blame this game for having lives, but the mechanic does not do anything here. The 90s finally gave gamers the divine ability to save their progress in every game, so now nothing even happens when you run out of lives. You just get sent back to the title screen with no penalty other than having to walk back to the level and try again. For whatever reason, Super Mario Bros. Precedent lasted over 30 years before Odyssey finally became the first mainline Mario game without lives. And I think very few people disagree with me that this is a welcome change. This isn't an arcade game, so getting to keep playing after I die as many times as I want feels just right. Lives were an arbitrary mechanic to begin with, and Odyssey finally got rid of them. Moving on to the boot-out system, this is a mechanic that started alongside 3D Mario with Super Mario 64. The game and its levels were non-linear in their structure, yet collecting a star sent you back out into Peach's castle before you could continue. This never really crossed my mind as a kid, but why does the game do that? Some say it's to pad out 64 and make it feel longer, but I really don't know. It kinda kills the momentum of a playthrough sometimes, and I can't think of anything it adds. But just like with lives, Super Mario Odyssey finally got rid of the boot-out system for the first time. When you collect a moon, you stay right where you were and you can keep exploring. Once again, Odyssey took an arbitrary yet unbreakable precedent and shattered it to make the game better. Coming back to the future of 3D Mario, what the heck does that have to do with anything? Being open world doesn't get rid of some pointless old mechanic, so what information am I even talking about? Well, now that we know Nintendo is ready to get rid of any old mechanic that made Mario less fun, here's my reason to expect an open world Mario game. I actually do think that becoming open world will get rid of some pointless old mechanic. Let me ask you this. Why did Super Mario 64 have levels? In other words, why was that not an open world game? Why didn't all the levels and stars exist in one giant space with all the same challenges and obstacles? You could say it was because the levels needed to stand out from each other stylistically, but I would argue that 95% of the reason is actually just because of technical limitations. The N64 simply couldn't support that big of a world all being loaded in at once, so they made a bunch of smaller levels connected by a castle hub world. Thematic variety isn't even lost in a contiguous world, just look at any open world game. Those have all kinds of different biomes and areas without any issue. And that's why I say levels are Mario's next outdated, arbitrary mechanic to get rid of. With today's gaming technology, there's simply no reason to split Mario's next adventure up between a bunch of disconnected levels. The game can still unlock areas bit by bit just like Bowser's Fury if they want it to, but I see no reason to hold Mario back any longer. It's so freeing to travel between all kinds of challenges by my own will, and that's what I want for Mario's next main 3D entry. I could be wrong, but I think it's just about time for Mario to go open world. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.